Culture and educational rights. Article 29. It talks about protection of interests of minorities. Clause 1 says, any section of the citizens residing in the territory of India or any part thereof having a distinct language, script or culture of its own shall have the right to conserve the same. That means if there is any small tribal culture in a very remote jungle, even then the people of that culture have a right to preserve their particular culture and customs. They have their right. And same thing with language and script. Let's take there is a minority language, like let's say Gujarati is a minority language in India. Even then those people can have a right to maintain their language. Same thing with script. Any script which is minority in nature, and those people have a right to conserve that script so that it doesn't go out of extinction. That means government or private people should strive for conservation of minority language, script and cultures. Next thing, no citizen shall be denied admission to any education institution maintained by the state or receiving aid out of state funds on grounds only of religion, race, caste, language or any of them. This is once again repetition of the right to equality. That means if there is any school or something like that, that means which is maintained by state, or if it is receiving some kind of money from the government, then it should not restrict based on religion, race, caste or language. This kind of restriction cannot be allowed in those kind of schools. Next, Article 30. Clause 1 says, all minorities, whether based on religion or language, shall have right to establish and administer educational institutions of their choice. Like here they talk about two kind of minorities. One is language minority and religious minority. It says any kind of such community can start their own educational institutions. Like for example, you can see many Christian minority colleges or Tamil minority colleges, like those kind of things like are allowed. Like there is a particular state in which a particular language is in minority, then people of that community can establish a particular education institution of their choice. Same case with religion and language. These things we have to keep in mind, that Article 30 talks about religious and language based minorities. That's the important thing that needs to be remembered. Next we have this 1A. This clause 1A was added later through an amendment, which says, in making any law providing for the compulsory acquisition of any property of an education institution established and administered by a minority referred to in clause 1, the state shall ensure that the amount fixed by or determined under such law of the acquisition of such property is such as would not restrict or abrogate the right guaranteed under that clause. What it basically is saying is that, let's say there is a minority college and government wants to acquire that particular place to build a bridge. In that case, the compensation given by the government should be enough so that that particular person can build another college at some other place. That's what it says. So that money should be sufficient to build another institution. So that's what it says. Next thing, clause 2 of Article 30 says, the state shall not, in granting aid to education institution, discriminate against any educational institution on the ground that it is under the management of a minority, whether based on religion or language. Same thing again, right to equality stressed a little bit more. Like while giving any fund or something like that, it should be given without any restriction. Like it should not say that, okay, this particular school is maintained by a particular minority based on religion or language, so we won't give any aid to that. That kind of restriction cannot be done. Like that's what it talks about. And one thing that we have to remember, this 1A, you see it says 1. Let's see what this notes 1 talks about. See, it was related to 44th amendment. 44th Amendment 1978. The interesting thing about this 44th Amendment is that 1978 is that earlier to this 44th Amendment 1978, right to property was a fundamental right, so government had no right to acquire any property. But after this 44th Amendment, which came into effect, which was passed in 1978, right to property was removed as fundamental right. So that's why this was added later, because earlier to this it was a fundamental right, so government has no right to acquire property, but later on it got right to acquire property. So to counter that, this particular clause was added later as an additional protection for minorities.